Hello guys, welcome to the video, where we are going to show you how you can create a Python program that performs a search query. Let's open up our terminal and create a directory or a folder. First, change your directory to desktop using the cd command. Use the mkdir command to create a folder. Name your folder and don't forget to subscribe. Now, you can use touch command to create our file. Use Nano Editor or VS Code if you are on Windows. If you are on Windows, you will need to install some Python libraries using pip install. Let's import the tkint, our header file. Now you have to use the Selenium library and import WebDriver, which is very important for automating browser interactions. Now, you have to import keys from this library. This allows our software to take input from the user. At last, you have to import time. After using these libraries, we are going to create our first function using the diff keyword. This function will allow us to store our prompts in a history log. Now, we are going to create a variable that allows us to take and store the search entered by our user. Make sure to apply proper indentation, as this can cause errors in Python. Now, we are creating an if condition to create an algorithm and process the user's input. Now, we are going to use the try keyword to try the actions of the algorithm. We are going to create a variable called driver that uses the Firefox driver to perform our task. Now, we are going to use driver.get function from our library and provide it with the URL of our Firefox browser. Next, we have created a variable that searches our input by its name in the browser. Next, we have created a function that takes in the user input as its argument. This line simulates typing the user prompt text into the Google search box. Our next function is going to simulate pressing the Enter key in the search box to initiate the search. This line pauses the program for 20 seconds. This is a delay to allow time for the search results to load before continuing. Next, we are going to create a function that inserts the user prompt text at the top of the search history list box, displaying the search history. Now, we are going to apply some error handling that shows the exceptions that occurred in out program. In this case, it's catching any exception that is a subclass of the exception class. Now, we are going to create a function called result_label_config that displays the text that an error has occurred on our terminal. This line defines a finally block that is executed. Whether an exception occurs or not, it is used to clean up resources. The finally block ensures that the WebDriver is properly closed, and the browser window is quit regardless of whether an exception occurred or not. In our next line, we are going to create a variable named window. That line creates the main GUI or graphical user interface window using tkinter. Next, we are going to create a function that sets the title of the GUI window to web search. Now we are going to create various GUI elements. This line packs the label widget, a tkinter label widget, into the tkinter window. Packing is a geometry manager in tkinter that automatically arranges widgets within a window, or a frame. In this case, it adds the label to the window. We have created a variable called label, and inside it we are copying a function that prompts the user to enter his search query. This line creates an entry widget using Tkinter. It is a text input field where users can input text. Entry is assigned as a reference to this widget, and it is placed inside the window, which is the main Tkinter window created earlier. Next, we are going to create a variable that is a function, which is used to create a button widget labeled search using Tkinter. The command parameter specifies that when this button is clicked, the search and update history function should be executed. Search button is assigned as a reference to this widget, and it is placed inside the window. This line creates another label widget labeled search history. Using Tkinter, this label is assigned as a reference to this widget, and it is placed inside the window. This label will provide a heading for the section where search history will be displayed. We have to just create a variable and use that function in it. This step is very similar to how JavaScript is used to communicate with the front end of a web application. In our next line, we are going to create a variable and assign a functionality to it that creates a list box widget using Tkinter. A list box is used to display a list of items. Search history is assigned as a reference to this widget, and it is placed inside the window. We are setting up our window's width to 40. If you have the expertise, you can even use HTML and CSS to further enhance the user interface. Make sure to like the video and leave a comment if you would like a tutorial on how we can use modern artificial intelligence to do that for us. Now we are going to use the label.pack function we had created. This line uses pack to add the entry widget to the Tkinter window. The entry widget is where the user can input their search query. Placing it below the label allows the user to see the label and the input field together. This line uses the pack method to display the search button, which is a button widget. Again, it's packed without specific options, so it will appear below the entry. This line also uses the pack method to display the result label, which is another widget. It will be packed below the search button without specific options. This line uses the pack method to display the search history label widget, which is yet another Tkinter label. It will be packed below the result label without specific options. Finally, we have the list box as with the other widgets. It is packed without specific options, so it will be placed below the search history label. In summary, these lines use the pack method to arrange and display the various widgets within the Tkinter window by default. Each widget is packed below the previous one, creating a vertical layout within the window. Finally, the main event loop of the Tkinter application. The event loop listens for user interactions and keeps the GUI running. Our program is finally complete. Press Ctrl+X to exit and press Y for yes. Make sure to like and subscribe and press Enter in the end. Finally, let's run our program using Python 3. You can see a window has been created. We can enter our search query in our box. A driver file has been created and Firefox has opened up. Great, our program has searched for lions. And it has been entered in our history. That's it for the video, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. And you can find the source code in the description.